Get the latest Impact Podcast right into your inbox each week. Subscribe by entering your email address at impactpodcast.com to make sure you never miss an interview. This edition of the Impact Podcast is brought to you by ERI. ERI has a mission to protect people, the planet, and your privacy, and is the largest fully integrated IT and electronics asset disposition provider and cybersecurity-focused hardware destruction company in the United States, and maybe even the world. For more information on how ERI can help your business properly dispose of outdated electronic hardware devices, please visit eridirect.com. This episode of the Impact Podcast is brought to you by Closed Loop Partners. Closed Loop Partners is a leading circular economy investor in the United States with an extensive network of Fortune 500 corporate investors, family offices, institutional investors, industry experts, and impact partners. Closed Loop's platform spans the arc of capital from venture capital to private equity, bridging gaps and fostering synergies to scale the circular economy. To find Closed Loop Partners, please go to www.closedlooppartners.com. Welcome to another edition of the Impact Podcast. I'm John Shigarian, and I'm so honored to have with us today Martha Issa. She's the Senior Director of Sustainability at Veritiv. Welcome, Martha, to the Impact Podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited about this. I mean, we were just pre-talking a little bit about how we got to this place, and we're talking here. I'm more than thrilled to start this conversation. Thanks for inviting me and reaching out, and that we were able to connect. I'm so thrilled.
Of course, and I'm thrilled likewise. And Martha, before we get talking about all the important sustainability initiatives that you have going at Veritiv, can you please share your background story? Where were you born, and how did you get on this very fascinating and important journey that you're on?
Thank you. Yes. And it's interesting because when I get this question about where are you from, I'm from Atlanta, like I live in Atlanta, but I originally am from El Salvador. I was born in El Salvador, Central America, a beautiful country. And I moved to the US 22 years ago, following the love of my life. And we got married. We had an 11-year-old son, and it's been an amazing journey. So in that whole story of moving, my career and my journey professionally has had a lot of turns. And by profession, I'm a chemical engineer. So being in sustainability right now is very exciting, going a little bit to my roots and understanding substrates and chemicals. But that was my professional degree, but most of my career has been in marketing. So marketing and communications has been really my passion. And if anything, what stays with me through my career, from engineering, marketing, then product development and product sourcing, and now in sustainability, what stays with me is solving problems. And the key to everything that I do is this natural curiosity that I've always had since I was a little girl in El Salvador, trying to figure out, where's Santa Claus, and now trying to figure out how do I solve this plastics problem. So I think that natural curiosity has been a highlight throughout my life and my career.
It served you well. Let's just say that. It served you well.
Yeah.
As you and I know, sustainability now, in terms of Senior Director of Sustainability, Chief Sustainability Officers, Chief Impact Officers, can be read narrowly or broadly. In terms of your role as Senior Director of Sustainability at Veritiv, how is the word and your title read? Is it on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, quarter-to-quarter, year-to-year basis? Is sustainability a broad initiative at Veritiv, or is it more narrowly read? And how as a leader do you approach it on a regular basis?
Yes, that's a great question, because sustainability can mean so many things. And what I have discovered is it can be in a very scientific area of sustainability, measuring greenhouse gas emissions, or you can be more in the innovation production, or you can be more in the communication side and nonprofit areas. So for us, we decided for sustainability is we feel this great responsibility of $6 billion you mentioned it in sales, and half of that is in packaging materials that can end up in a landfill or in the ocean. So we feel this huge responsibility of what is our role and what can we do to address that. And at the same time, we are a for-profit company. So we have the way that we look at sustainability is how we balance those two. And with that, what we have is like an ESG working group. And as Senior Director of Sustainability, my role is it's almost like orchestrating and planting the seed and objectives, but then the working group has its own areas of development and goals, like the fleet and operations leader would lead that, or DE&I, or community engagement. There are different leaders within the company that are responsible for those specific goals. And then for me, I have the title of sustainability. So I kind of orchestrate everything that we're doing, putting it together so that our customers can understand and what is our mission with sustainability, and also work with our suppliers. So in that ESG working group, as Senior Director of Sustainability, what I do is more on the products and services. So my role is every day in front of customers or suppliers or people in the industry to figure out how can we serve our customers better, how can we have a lower impact in the environment, and be in front of the problems instead of behind, and be leaders in this space.
Understood. And for our listeners and viewers, just for some context, Veritiv has what, about 4,500 or so employees and about $6.5 billion in sales, and it's a global brand.
Yes. So we have, we follow our customers. We're a little bit behind the scenes. We're basically design and source and distribute all this packaging materials. We'll also have a line of janitorial supplies and printing paper. So the big brands that you would normally know, we are behind those big brands, helping them innovate in their packaging materials, making sure that the products are going to get to their facilities and manufacturing, and then get out to the market in the best way possible with the less impact to the environment as possible. So with that, yes, we have we are a private company now, but our last public record for, of course, the $6 billion figure that you mentioned, and 4,500, close to 5,000 employees now. So it's we're following our customers, like I said, globally. We have customers that have manufacturing in Asia. So we have a team there. The majority of our business is going to be in the US and Mexico, but we do have footprint in other.
Being that you're a global brand, one of the biggest environmental challenges that we have now on this planet is single-use plastics and the appropriate recycling or disposal of those plastics. What's your vision of the path forward from a packaging perspective on how we should be dealing with single-use plastics now and in the years to come?
Yes, I mean, it could be a very daunting problem to solve, and where to start. And when you look at packaging and plastic pollution in general, 36% of the total waste in plastic comes from packaging. So there's good news and bad news with that. The bad news is 36% of the pollution in plastic comes from packaging, but the good news is that it's so large that there's so many resources that are being invested because of that. Organizations, innovation. So I think that the solution for that is going to come from that collaboration. Two areas, if I had to summarize it, two areas. One is innovation. And this is my biggest passion. As a chemical engineer, I totally believe that the solution to the plastic problem is already out there. There's technology that is just waiting there to be at a scale that we can all use it. So I think that's the first thing, is innovation and how we can rally around scientists and companies that are innovating on that. And the second part is more around the collaboration, because we all have to agree on how we're going to prioritize the solution. So there's so many problems or so many different substrates in plastic that require different technology. Like, where do we start? So having that collaboration with our customers, prioritizing what are their biggest concerns. So is it plastic containers? Is it stretch film? Is it cushioning or bubble wrap? Is it styrofoam? Where do we start? And then with our suppliers, looking at the resources that when I say suppliers for us would be all the large manufacturers of plastic that actually manufacture the stretch film or the plastic containers. So we collaborate with them, bring in innovation, and that innovation going to our customers. So that's how I see this big problem: innovation, collaboration.
So when you talk about technology, what technology are you excited about that's going to help us get through to the other side of this big problem?
Well, the technology that I'm seeing developing is in two specific areas. One is in the resin itself. A lot of testing around additives. And I know the word additives sounds like it's greenwashing.
Right.
And what exactly does it do? But that is a piece that I have a lot of confidence. It's already there. Some of the technology, imagine when you have stitches and that plastic disappears. So there's already technology that's nascent that I think we can utilize and leverage. And then the other piece is controversial in some places, but chemical recycling. Like if we can, right now, it's not there in terms of the proper collection, and are we generating more emissions by making that again? So I think that's those two pieces of technology. If we can get them to a place that's scalable and profitable, we can revolutionize the space.
As a chemist, do you believe the chemical side of it has good efficacy that you're excited about?
Yes.
It's a chemical engineer. You're a specialist.
Yes, a chemical engineer. Yes, absolutely. Right. My business side is also concerned, like, can we do this economically? But in terms of technology, it's there. Right. The technology is there. And I'm saying all this, but before we even get to that, my first pass, and I tell customers and everyone the same, is just use less. Right. Make less of a problem. But you're asking me about the technology. So I'm saying once it's there are ways that we can solve it.
Right. But like you said, be more intentional. Now that we all know that there's a problem, let's all be more intentional in our use of it. I think that's a great starting point. But let's now go back to another thing that you just mentioned: infrastructure and ability. Historically in America, in North America, let's just say, the recycling infrastructure on all products, this is not just a plastic issue, has been lumpy at best, to entice and encourage the circularity of all products. How is that changing or evolving when it comes to single-use plastics from where you sit?
Yes, I think it's slow. It's slower than I would like it to be. But when I came to this role 2 years ago, and again, that problem solving mindset is like looking at the root cause, because what I kept hearing is there's not enough infrastructure. There's not enough infrastructure. And the root cause, there are two root causes of that I found. Is one is the logistics side of it, just the collection. And trying, especially for hard to recycle materials. And we sell a lot of stretch film. So that's a very difficult store drop off type of collection across the country. So logistics and collecting the materials is a big problem. Doesn't even get it to the recycler to even be able to have volume to sell. And then the second is supply and demand. That there's not enough infrastructure because there's no enough people interested in investing in something that's not going to make money. So we need to create that demand so that more people are interested in investing in that infrastructure. So to solve the demand problem and the logistics problems, there are many thoughts and lines of thoughts on how we can do that. I mean, can we do that as private companies getting more involved? And there's some use cases of that, companies getting together and building a whole recycling facility. And then there's others, like what we're trying to do here at Veritiv is through a commodity and a project for a recycler that they wouldn't have the funds to invest in that new technology and expand the amount of plastic that they're recycling because it doesn't have enough value for them to sell it. We buy a commodity that's called attributes of recycled content. It's for lack of a better word and simplifying, it's like a plastic credit. So we get that claim we're investing in infrastructure and they get those funds for that project. So that's another way. And so there's one way of solving the problem. We all get together as private companies helping, or the governments get involved. So that's another way to solve the demand and logistics problem.
Speak a little bit about the government getting involved and regulations. Are there regulations in place that encourage single-use plastic recycling? Not enough. And are there upcoming regulations that you're excited about that are going to do more to help encourage the responsible recycling of single-use plastics?
Yeah, so everyone is trying to do the right thing. That's why I love so much this job, talking to so many people that are very passionate, action-oriented. So regulations, for example, in New Jersey, and very simple, we're going to you have to have 10% recycled content in all your bags, and it was fast, and it's there, and it's going to be implemented 25. We already registered our plastic containers, and that is going to generate demand of that recycled content. So that is very simple, one way of doing that. I think to make a difference and more consistent and a little bit easier on organizations across all states is with the extended producer responsibility regulations that are being proposed. And there's a lot of examples in Europe, Canada. I think it's a great example of how that can work. And I think that is definitely a way that it's going to generate the demand and simplify it for companies like ours and big brands, because you have a single point of contact of providing the data, standardize it, and look where your investments are going to go. And it's going to be slow. My prediction here, it's going to be a little bit slow, but the more that we can collaborate, and if states could collaborate more, it would be a lot easier.
It's always too slow in the seats that you sit and I sit. It's always too slow. Is New Jersey the paradigm that you like the most so far, or is there other states that are doing as well, or have some other great regulation that you're really excited about that you hope gets picked up by others?
Yes, I like New Jersey in the sense that it's simple and it's there. What I'm concerned is if everyone starts doing their own, then it becomes a problem and a very complex
patchwork quilt.
A very complex way for us to collaborate and track, and it becomes a little bit difficult to track what is it for each one and what do you have to comply with the different locations. So I like the speed and the simplicity, not so much like having every state and municipalities. There's certain municipalities in California that have had a stand on styrofoam cups or plasticware, and it's just one location. So it's very difficult for organizations. Okay, we're going to allow this to come to this warehouse, but then the truck doesn't go to this other place. So the more that we can standardize it is better. And answering your question, I would say like the EPR approach is the best, because I understand why it's not going to be the same in every place, because each municipality has different type of waste. So you can't have banning products and put in standards and recycled content minimums or maximums, and the same everywhere, because some people might be dealing with more glass, some people might be dealing with more disposables with cutlery than others. So it depends on that. But then EPR, going through that one organization that collects the information, standardizes what you have to report and how investments will be deployed.
But let's go over this, Martha. So there's a challenge to a state-by-state approach because it creates, as you say, complexity and difficulty to track and manage. And I get it, because they've done that in the EPR side of electronics world. So I've lived it on the electronics side. And as you said, there's some wisdom to a state-by-state approach or municipality approach, because there is a uniqueness and idiosyncrasies in those areas and regions and municipalities that exist in those areas, but maybe not in others. Is there room for federal legislation and a federal EPR approach that could help standardize it, make it easier, and help get the word out faster to help accelerate more responsible single-use plastic recycling?
Well, I said I could give you my personal. This is my personal view.
Of course,
personal view.
You're here.
I think
You're
it's.
Here.
I do think that a federal approach, this is for companies, and if you do business across states, the more standardized and a federal approach is the best approach. It's slower, of course, because then you have to get more. And
Sure.
with my personal opinion, what I was going to mention with this is that, being here 20 something years, but I was not born here. And most of my family are outside of El Salvador. I have a sister that lives in Europe, another one in Asia. So I have a great appreciation of this country and the way that we work together. And in a country where the individual rights are so respected, then it's normal that these regulations are going to go slower. And that's why I think like federal regulation would be the best approach. But understanding that here, when you have to go through all these nuances of the individual rights, and you're going to have people opposing to different things, and you can't impose certain things on others. So you have to be conscious that the states are probably going to have the ones leading if we want this to go a little bit faster.
Makes sense. For our listeners and viewers who've just joined us, we've got Martha Issa with us today. She's the Senior Director of Sustainability at Veritiv. To find Martha and her colleagues and all the important and impactful work they're doing in sustainability, please go to www.veritiv, Veritiv.com, Veritiv.com. Martha, talk a little bit about the lack of knowledge, the apathy and benign neglect that exists in the marketplace, which makes recycling of all products, not just plastics, all products, I'll include electronics, and sustainability a harder sell than other things that are in the culture and society.
Yes, I mean, there's, as an industry, and I really like being part of organizations that have a lot more resources than we would have to educate and have the message out there.
Yeah,
I think the recycling message was so strong for years, and what more we can do around that, but then also the message about reusing and reducing with clothing, buy less and keep your jeans longer. So that message, I think there are organizations like the Sustainable Packaging Coalition and America and others that are doing this good job of educating and trying to get the message out there from a packaging perspective. But then in general, I think it's on all of us to get more informed as parents and as educators, and make sure that our kids and the next generation have the right information. I get a lot of people. I was presenting in the Chamber of Commerce. I'm not going to mention what city,
Right.
but someone stood up and say, "Why should I care about greenhouse gas emissions if nature doesn't care?" The volcano, he was mentioning a volcano that exploded and generated more greenhouse gas emissions than what he's ever going to produce in 3 lifetimes, or some statistic like that. So basically saying, this problem is too big, or nature doesn't care, so I'm not going to care. And I hear, you hear that type of position, and how do you address that and create the right awareness so that everyone can do their part on recycling and educating. So my approach to that, it really is pretty much what I would do with my 11-year-old. And what the best advice I got when he started to get in that very hard positions on, I don't believe in this, or this doesn't, and it's have them research. So when someone does, has that hard stance, or you have this, you have to evaluate if someone that's really interested in your answer, or if they just have their position, and no matter what, you're not going to convince them. But if they're in a position of listening, I think that giving the resources out there for people to learn is the best approach. Like, don't believe me. Here's the 2 different opposing positions, and here's the reality between those 2. So the more information that we can have out there on what's happening in our glaciers, what's happening with global warming, what are the science behind it, and not just from one report, but several of them. What's the impact? So information available and public that we can put out there. And that's why I really like that we collaborate with organizations that have the ability to put that impartial, objective information. It's the best approach, is just do your research and provide information out there for people to make their own decisions.
Agreed. And I think, and I, like you, have spoken in front of organizations, and that's part of what we do. And that's part of our sort of our job and our passion. And I think less and less, there's more anomaly people like that. And I think the more people we meet, no matter where they're from or what their political ideology is, or geography of where they live, it seems as though more and more people are all agreed upon certain base tenets, that they all want to drink cleaner water, and they want their family, their spouses, their children, their parents to drink cleaner water, breathe cleaner air, and leave behind a better environment than they inherited themselves. So I think, like you said, there's an information gap out there. And of course, there's some always naysayers and folks that love to polarize all types of issues. But I'm finding over this journey, there's less and less of those, and more people that want to support the great efforts that you and your colleagues at Veritiv are making to make the world a better place, and what we're doing in our company and other sustainable and like-minded companies are doing. I think there's more people supporting us now, but like you said, getting the information out there is probably one of the greatest challenges. Talk a little bit about some of your favorite collaborations. You mentioned collaboration a couple of times during this interview. Share what are some of your favorite collaborations, because it's important that folks understand that we don't have to go it alone as a brand and as a messenger of good. We can collaborate and actually exponentially create and effectuate more impactful and greater change in a much expedited way.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that most people are in a place where, what can I do? And I think that is the hardest question, is like, where to start. Right. And what should I be doing? And that's the question that we get the most, and the confusion. What regulations should I follow, or what should I want to have, net zero, and I want zero waste. How can I get there? So the collaborations for us, I can talk for two types of collaborations that I enjoy the most, and then the one that it's like my pride and joy of pinnacle of collaboration so far. So one is like our every day with our customers that are asking us. They have their, big, large brands that have this goals for 2030, and they don't know where to start. Like they're doing a lot with their own operations, but not necessarily with packaging. And when it comes to what we call tertiary packaging, the boxes and what wraps the pallets. So that collaboration happens every day, and we walk them through how you don't need this much packaging. Can we redesign it? Reduce is like I said it many times, reducing is the first step. We help them also figure out anything that they can automate so that it could be easier and more measurable, because you reduce waste with automation. We help them look at new solutions. We provide them reports. So that collaboration happens all the time. And that's the one that I enjoy a lot, because it happens every day in everything we do. The other collaboration is in the innovation side. So like I mentioned 2 years ago, the first thing, there's not enough infrastructure. We can't give you recycled content, stretch film. And that was, we have to solve it. How is it possible that we can't solve this problem together? So meeting with our two major manufacturers of stretch film, looking at price, looking at sourcing, what type of resin they needed to buy, can we test it? And then looking at customers that were willing to have, be the pioneers in testing some of these. So having all suppliers, the manufacturers of the resin, and customers all working together, we were able to bring the first, machine grade stretch film that we had 30% post-consumer recycled content in it. And that has been a great way of how, the brands, our customers, and then manufacturers and resin producers coming together to do that. And now we're working more. We're working on how we're going to take that and recycle it and bring it back to the recyclers. So it's the next level of the collaboration, and it's closing the loop there.
That's so exciting. Do you and your team at Veritiv produce a sustainability report every year?
Yeah, so we have like our corporate social responsibility report. We just published, time is flying. In April, we just published our 2023. So it's the third year that we are reporting our corporate social responsibility report. And then we're fine tuning a lot of that also for just preparing for regulatory compliance or the information that our customers want. So we have also product level reporting that it's not public, but it's specific to our customers. And that report lives in perpetuity up on the Veritiv website. Yes, they can find more information there. You just go to EcoScore, and then our customers can reach out and we can help them with that. How long, Martha, have you been in the Senior Director of Sustainability role at Veritiv? It's going to be 2 years in April. So okay. I've been with the company for 17 years, though. Right. So now, love. Veritiv is the green is in my blood, and so talk to me like you've been there 2 years. You've been doing it 2 years, which is long enough to get your feet underneath you and build momentum. What are you excited about for the next 2 years coming? What gets you out of bed and gets your blood flowing every day with regards to the progress you're going to be able to make in the next 2 years with your colleagues at Veritiv? Yes, what makes me so excited, and I guess I was all giddy with the post-consumer recycled content innovation. I think innovation is what really excites me, what's coming, and the fact that I'm the impact that we can make, and having a seat on the table on the solution, because you can be out there and. Of course, everyone has a part on this, and people that are making the regulations and funding for other things. But here it's like it's millions of tons of plastic that we can take out of the environment, just collaborating with our customers and looking at new innovation that's coming down the pike, and that's what excites me the most. It's what's coming, and keep the collaboration with our customers and organizations and suppliers.
That's so awesome. As you and I know, Martha, sustainability there's no finish line. It's just a journey. So I just want you to know you're always welcome back on the Impact Podcast to continue to share your journey in sustainability at Veritiv and all the great work you and your colleagues are doing there to make single-use plastic more circular. And that's such an important mission and such an important opportunity for the environment and for the world, for our listeners and viewers to find Martha and all her colleagues at Veritiv and all the important and impactful work they're doing. Please go to www.veritiv.com. Martha, Issa, thank you so much for your time today. But more importantly, thank you for all the great work you're doing at Veritiv and for making the world a better place.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great.
This edition of the Impact Podcast is brought to you by Engage. Engage is a digital booking platform revolutionizing the talent booking industry. With thousands of athletes, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and business leaders, Engage is the go-to spot for booking talent, for speeches, custom experiences, live streams, and much more. For more information on Engage or to book talent today, visit letsengage.com. This edition of the Impact Podcast is brought to you by ERI. ERI has a mission to protect people, the planet, and your privacy, and is the largest fully integrated IT and electronics asset disposition provider and cybersecurity-focused hardware destruction company in the United States, and maybe even the world. For more information on how ERI can help your business properly dispose of outdated electronic hardware devices, please visit eridirect.com.